welcome you all to the class. What we like to do here is do articles from Time and from Economist. We like to make this an interesting and enjoyable experience. So you will learn things that you don't necessarily learn in school. We talk about all kinds of different topics. Today, I chose a topic that everybody's interested in. It's called happiness. Everybody likes to be happy, right? So we're going to learn about happiness. What we do here is we do vocabulary words. I start off the class, I show you about 5 vocabulary words that are going to be in the article. I'm going to show you the meanings of it so that if the word comes up and it happens to be your paragraph to read, you'll know. So when I show you those vocabulary words, it's a good idea to write them down, take a picture, however you best remember them. I'll also show you the homework. Now, of course, this is just a trial class, so you won't do the homework after the class, but normally after the class, you do the homework, and then next class, I review it. So I'll mark it and I'll review it with you. Michael gave you a pretty good introduction myself. I'll just fill in some of the things. I got a Bachelor of Science and an MBA, Science from McGill, MBA from Queen's University. I worked in industry for many years, different companies, and most recently was a major bank, CIBC. Retired about 6 years ago, and I've been teaching this kind of course since then and other courses, but this has been my favorite. Students seem to enjoy it, so I've continued to do it. All right, so what I'm going to do, we only have about an hour, so I'll try to shorten it a little bit. What I do is first, I'm going to show you the vocabulary words, and let's do that first. Give you an idea of what we do here. So we'll share the screen. Okay, so here's the 5 vocabulary. These are 5 words that are going to be in the article. Take a note of them in case the word comes up when you're reading it and I ask you what it means, you'll know. Daily Habits of Happiness Experts is the name. Illuminating. If something is illuminating, it means helping to clarify or explain something. You may know of illuminate, like a light illuminates. Well, this is the figurative meaning. Illuminating, something that helps you to clarify something, explain is an illuminating thing. Subjective, that's the opposite of objective. Subjective means based on personal feelings. It's an opinion, a subjective feeling. Different from objective. Objective means factual. 1 and 1 are 2. That's an objective fact. It's a nice day outside. That's subjective. It's based on personal feelings. If you like a sunny day, it's a nice day. Number 3, innate. If something is innate, it's inborn, it's natural. So maybe you have an innate ability to play basketball. It just comes to you naturally. That would be innate. It's inborn, it's natural to you. Number 4 is bask in. Making the most of. You may have heard the expression basking in the glory of. Something that you're really happy about, you bask in the glory of. So you make the most of it. You bask in that. And number 5 is cultivate. When you cultivate, you try to develop a skill. You may have heard cultivate being used sometimes when you're gardening, you cultivate your garden. That's the literal term, but figuratively speaking, you cultivate something, you try to develop a skill. So these are the 5 vocabulary words: illuminating, subjective, innate, basking, and cultivate. Remember those words, take a picture of them, or write them down, however you best remember it. Okay, now let's go to the homework questions. These are the questions. And if there's time, we'll go through them at the end of the class. But normally, if it was a regular class, we would ask you to do them and we would review them in the next class. Okay, so let's just show them to you quickly before the class, and then I'll show them to you briefly after the class. Daily Habits of Happiness Experts. Number 1. Now, the first 4 questions are right from the article. All you have to do is read the article, and the answers are right there. So it won't take long to do it. Stella Grisant explains that happiness is not a yellow smiley face. It is what? Number 2, what does nearly every expert agree are the ingredients of happiness? 3, what are some free ways to increase happiness? You don't always have to pay money to be happy. There's free ways to increase happiness. 4, we'll read about John Zelinsky. What does John Zelinsky think is the chief building block of happiness? 4 questions right from the article. 5th question is always an opinion question, where I look for what your opinion is. What is one of the key activities that you do to make you happy? Please explain. Okay, so this article is more of a fun article. You should learn a little bit from it, but have fun with it. Okay. Before I get into it, I just want to know each of you briefly. I know part of your information. Tiger, I know you're from Toronto. Can you just tell me your grade and what one or two of your favorite activities are?
Well, I'm grade 9, and my favorite activity is playing basketball and playing badminton.
Basketball and badminton. Okay, thank you. Joshua, I know you're from Vancouver and you're in grade 5. Can you tell me one or two of your favorite activities to do in your spare time?
I like reading and, I don't know, playing with Rubik's Cubes.
Rubik's Cubes. Oh, that's a good activity. All right. Can you finish it pretty quickly? Yeah, okay. Justin from Vancouver in grade 8. What is one or two of your favorite activities?
I hang out with my friends to play basketball sometimes, and I also like reading in my extra time.
Okay, basketball and reading. Okay, that way I know a little bit about you. Okay, so let's move along. And what I'm going to do is, so generally I have an article and I have one or two videos. I'm going to just play a little bit of this video just as an introduction. And the video is called 6 Habits That Will Make Your Life Happier. So what we're going to do is go through that first habit. Okay. And before I do that, I want to show you one other thing. Just as an introduction, we are going to be doing Time and Economist magazines. You may be familiar with them, but this is an example of the Time magazine. Maybe you get them at home. Maybe you're familiar with it, different articles. Mostly I do articles from the Time magazine. Okay. And the other one that I use is the Economist magazine. So I just want you to see that. Okay. That has articles that may be a little more technically difficult, but I try to pick the ones that are of general interest. So Time and Economist, that's what this class is all about. All right, let's look at the first part of the video. I'll get that out. Okay, so it's called 6 Habits That Will Make Your Life Happier. Of course, you want to be happy. Let's look at the first habit.
Have you ever wondered if there are some habits you could adopt to make your life a little bit happier? According to psychologists and research studies, there are some interesting habits that may just leave you feeling a bit more cheerful. Here are 6 helpful habits that will make your life happier. Number 1, read stories of wonder. Do you love to snuggle up with a good book and a cup of cocoa? While chocolate tends to make a lot of people happy, that story of wonderment you're reading may just make you happier. According to a 2012 research study published in the journal Psychological Science, awe can be elicited from reading a story, even a short one. Researchers Melanie Rudd, Kathleen D. Voss, and Jennifer Aker explain in their research article that awe offset the feeling that time is limited. And this increase in perceived time availability heightened willingness to volunteer time. And it accentuated preferences for experiential goods and lifted satisfaction with life. They further explained that their studies also demonstrated that awe can be elicited by reliving a memory, reading a brief story, or even watching a 60-second commercial. So, that inspiring book you're reading, or that adventurous play that has you hooked, keep reading. Your life may just be a bit happier with an awe-inspiring book, and it keeps you present in the moment. As the study states, experiences of awe bring people into the present moment, and being in the present moment underlies awe's capacity to adjust time perception, influence decisions, and make life feel more satisfying than it would otherwise. Sounds good to me.
Okay, there you go. Habit number 1, read. I know you all like to read, so that's a good one to keep in mind. Okay, let's go to the article now. Just going to make it a little bigger here. Okay, and we'll share the screen. Okay, so it is called The Daily Habits of Happiness experts. So people that are experts in happiness have gone together and written this. Stop trying to force that frown upside down. Instead, try the joy building tips that experts really use. Okay, that's the title. So I'm going to pick on each of you to read a paragraph. You'll read the paragraph and then we will discuss the paragraph. Okay, so how about Joshua? How about you read the first paragraph for us?
So which paragraph?
Right here where I highlight in red, if anyone.
Okay. If anyone knows the secret to happiness, it's surely the people who have dedicated their careers to studying it. The first thing they'll tell you, being happy all the time isn't a feasible or even desirable goal.
Okay, good reading, grade 5. That's good reading. Okay, so what is the secret to happiness? Well, a lot of these people are dedicated to studying it. And what they're going to tell you is being happy all the time isn't a feasible or even desirable goal, meaning we can't be happy all the time. We're human beings. There's no way we are going to be happy all the time. But it would be nice to be happy most of the time. So that's what we want to try to do. Be happy most of the time. Okay, thanks, Joshua. Tiger, second paragraph, please.
It's not a yellow smile face, says positive psychology expert Stella Grisont, founder and CEO of Goodpatch, which focuses on workplace well-being. It's being true to yourself and all the emotions that come up. Grisont was among 18 leading happiness experts surveyed by Time about their daily habits and the professional insights they are most likely to apply to their personal lives. The results are illuminating and will help all of us boost our mood and well-being.
Okay, so when we think of happiness, you know that yellow smiley face, we think of that, oh, that's happiness. But it's not that simple. It's not that yellow smiley face. What is it, says Stella Grisont, who's one of the happiness experts? It's being true to yourself and all the emotions that come up. So being true to yourself, being true to knowing what you like and doing the things you like, being true to yourself is one of the most important things. So she was among 18 leading happiness experts, and these happiness experts look at what makes us happy and what doesn't make us happy. And the results were very illuminating. Illuminating, one of the vocabulary words. Tiger, do you remember what illuminating means?
It means helping to clarify or explain something.
Yeah, that was the definition. Helping to clarify or explain something. So when they looked at the results, they were illuminating. They really helped clarify. They kind of knew what makes you happy. You all have an idea what makes you happy. But when you do a study of it and the results are illuminating, it really becomes very clear what it is. What are the factors that we need to know that make us happy and that we need to do more of? So the results of this study were illuminating. Okay, thanks, Tiger. Now, sometimes we'll only have a partial paragraph, so let's read this part, Justin, and then we'll read the rest. So just read this part, please.
The meaning of happiness is to an extent subjective, but nearly every expert we survived, emphasize the same cocktail of ingredients: a sense of control and autonomy over one's life, being guided by meaning and purpose, and connecting with others. And they largely agreed that happiness can be measured, strengthened.
Okay, we'll hold it there. So the meaning of happiness is subjective. Subjective was one of the vocabulary words. What does it subjective mean?
It's like an emotion from somebody.
It's an emotion, right? It's based on your personal feelings, a subjective opinion. If I ask somebody if they're happy, it's not that clear. Yes, they can say yes or no, but it's not crystal clear. Like if I ask you what 5 and 5 is, there's an objective answer. There's only one answer to what 5 and 5 is. That's 10. That's an objective answer. Clear, right, wrong. Subjective means there's not necessarily a clear answer. So what happiness means, it's subjective because different things will make people happy depending on the person. Somebody likes basketball, somebody likes baseball. Everybody likes different things. But generally, as human beings, there's certain things we all like. Control and autonomy over one's life. You want to be in control of your life. Sure, when you're younger, you need to listen to your parents, of course. But as you get older, you want control. You want to be able to decide what you're going to do. When you grow up, you want to decide what occupation you're going to do. You want control. You want to be guided by meaning. You want to do things that have meaning. Connecting with others. We learned a lot about that during COVID when we couldn't connect with others. Now we really appreciate connecting with others. And the other thing, like you said, happiness can be measured, strengthened, and let's continue up here. Okay, Justin, measured, strengthened. We continue up here.
And taught. The more you notice how happy or how grateful you are, the more it grows, Grayson says.
Yeah, so you notice how happy you are, you notice how grateful you are, it grows. You become more happy, more grateful. It's like, we call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're happy, so you're going to get happier because you're doing things that make you happy. Okay, so that's the idea. You each read one paragraph. We're moving along. And as you see, I asked you 7 vocabulary words. And if you know the words, as you both did, tell me what it means. No pressure. If you don't remember what it means, you just tell me. Okay, so let's continue. Joshua, next paragraph, please. Joshua,
other question we asked, like, is happiness a choice? Sparked disagreement. Most experts landed somewhere in the middle, especially since countless eternal variables influence mood. Part of it is a choice. Part of it is innate, says Tal Ben Shahar, co-founder of the Online Happiness Studies Academy. And the part that is a choice is the choice to work hard at it.
Okay, so they asked themselves different questions when they did the study. Is happiness a choice? Can you choose to be happy? Well, believe it or not, a lot of people were disagreeing about that. Some people say, yes, you can choose to be happy. Some say no, but most people landed somewhere in the middle because there's many external variables that influence your mood. It depends on the environment you're in, depending if you're having a good day, if you're surrounded with friends. There's so many things that will affect your happiness. So part of it is a choice. Part of it is innate. So Joshua, innate is one of the vocabulary words. Do you remember what that means?
Innate means inborn or natural.
That is correct. Inborn or natural. You know how we're all born with certain abilities. Some people are just naturally happy. Maybe you know a person like that. They're always happy. You ever see him happy, happy, happy. Oh, it's a great day. That would be innate. They're just naturally happy. So it's innate. It's like inborn. It's a natural behavior for them. Part of it's a choice. You can choose to be happy. If you're a positive person, you can look at a situation that some people see as negative, but if you're positive, you can turn it into a choice. Say, oh, things are going to get better. It's good. So part of it is innate, part of it is a choice. The part that's a choice is the choice to work hard at it. Meaning, when it's difficult and you have to choose happiness, it can be hard. You have to work at it. It's not all easy to be happy when you're in a tough situation. Okay, thanks, Joshua. Next paragraph. Tiger, please.
Experts were divided on whether happiness can be bought. As author and podcaster Richard Rubin put it, money can buy happiness, but it can buy things that contribute mightily, such as exciting experiences. Spending money on others is also linked to happiness. Still, many of the most reliable ways to increase happiness levels are free, like meditating and practicing compassion, gratitude, and altruism.
Okay, so can happiness be bought? Well, you've probably heard the expression, money can't buy happiness. Maybe your parents have told you that, money can't buy happiness. Certainly money can get you things that would contribute to happiness, but do they make you a happy person? Not necessarily. Maybe for a minute you're happy when you get a nice gift, but then you don't use it. So when you spend money on others, that's likened to happiness because you're doing a good thing. You spend money, maybe you donate to charity. You feel good when you donate to charity. Makes you happy. But many of the ways that we can increase happiness are free. We can meditate, practicing compassion, like being compassionate to others, feeling gratitude, and altruism. Altruism means being good to other people, not necessarily being good because you have to be recognized. Oh, he's a good person. You just feel good. You do good things for others. Okay. Thanks, Tiger. Okay, we're going to do one more here, and then we're going to look at the chart. And halfway through, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So let's have Justin read the next paragraph, please. One
of the most striking lessons center on the importance of acknowledging negative emotions rather than suppressing them. The idea that dodging resentment, fear, or anger is healthy is one of the major misconceptions about happiness. They agree. We err when we assume that focusing on happiness means acting like a Pollyanna, ignoring the very real difficulties of life, says Judith T. Maxkowitz, a professor of medical social science at Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine. Instead, the expert said we should aim to accept and appropriately deal with difficult feelings.
Okay, so nice to be happy, but we also have to recognize when we're not happy. We have to acknowledge negative emotions. If something sad happens to you, somebody dies, or you don't do well in an exam, it's a sad day, you have to accept them and recognize. Don't dodge resentment or fear. You have to express the appropriate emotions. When you're unhappy, express it. And when you're happy, express it. Don't avoid being unhappy if it's time when you really need to be happy. That's one of the major misconceptions about happiness. You got to be happy when you're happy. Time to be sad, be sad. Focus on happiness. We assume that focusing on happiness means acting like a Pollyanna. Justin, have you ever heard the story about Pollyanna? Do you know what it is? If you haven't, that's okay. Just let me know and I'll explain it. Pollyanna, no? So Pollyanna was a person always happy. Oh, everything's great. Good, good, good. You're doing great. Oh, everything's good. But you can't be happy all the time. And sometimes trying to be happy all the time like a Pollyanna and ignoring the real difficulties of life, that can be a challenge. So you have to aim to accept and appropriately deal with difficult feelings. Okay, so we're going to take a break, but before we do that, I just want to have a look at this chart, and I want to get you guys to read. This is the share of experts surveyed who say they engage in these weekly happiness habits. So these are habits that people do. So I'm going to highlight one, and I'm going to ask certain people to read it. So Joshua, can you read this one, please?
Getting 7 or more hours of sleep.
Okay, Tiger, this one.
A personal hobby like art, writing, music, cooking, gaming.
Okay, Justin, this one.
Exercising or playing sports.
Yeah. Okay, Joshua, this one.
Spending time in nature.
Okay, Tiger, this one.
Meditating.
Okay, Justin, this one.
Praying.
Okay, Joshua, this one.
Spending time with friends outside of office/professional setting.
Okay, Tiger, this one.
Engaging with support groups or
Or a therapist, yes. And final one, Justin, this one.
Spending time with family outside of household.
Okay, so these are all examples of things that will help our happiness. Getting more hours of sleep. I'm sure your parents tell you got to get lots of sleep. Personal hobby is always a good thing. Playing sports. You told me you like playing basketball. Some people like to spend time in nature. Some people like meditating. They think it's very helpful. Some people say, no, don't want to meditate. Different opinions on that. Praying. Some people like to pray, some not. Time outside with friends. I'm sure you all like that. Being with a group or spending time outside of the family. Now, all these things help make us happy, but they have a different impact. So for example, 5 to 6 times a week, it's important to get many hours of sleep, 39%. See, when it's dark red, that's where the main factor is. Getting sleep, a personal hobby is important there. Spending time with friends, these numbers are high. You want to spend 5 to 6, 3 to 4 times a week. Some things not as important, depends on your feelings, like praying. Some people think it's quite important, 17%. Some people say not important at all. Spending time in nature. For some people, it's high. Every day they need to do it. Some people, not so much. Sports, generally popular. So you can see by looking at this chart, different things have a different impact, okay? Engaging with a support group or therapist, well, you're maybe only going to do that once a week. You're not going to do that less than weekly, maybe once a week, not very much, okay? But spending time with family outside of the household, you're certainly not going to do that every day, but you might do that 3 to 4 times a week. So this is just an idea of some of the activities that you can do to help increase happiness. Okay. All right, so now is the time when we take our 5-minute break. The time is 8:38. So have a 5-minute break and we'll see you back in 5 minutes. Okay, is everybody back? Looks like Joshua's not quite back yet. How about Justin and Tiger? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Justin is back. Okay, Tiger, you're back. Okay. Joshua, we'll give him another minute. There he is. Okay, welcome back, Joshua. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to go back to that video, play a little bit of video for you, and then we will finish off the article. So remember that video, it said 6 habits that will make your life happy. First one was read stories of wonder. And I know you guys like to read, so you know that one. The second one I'm going to skip because it's more for adults, drinking a healthy amount of coffee. That's not for you guys. So I'm going to skip that, and we're going to go to the third one. So let's go to the third one, which is don't focus on materialistic goods. Okay, so let's look at that. There we go.
3. Don't focus on materialistic goods. In her book, Myth of Happiness, author Sonia Lubomirsky explains that a mountain of research has shown that materialism depletes happiness, threatens satisfaction with our relationships, harms the environment, renders us less friendly, likable, and empathetic, and makes us less likely to help others and contribute to our communities. While a new pair of shoes here and there won't hurt you too much, if obtaining these types of possessions are all that's on your mind, it could cost you a bit of overall happiness. It's best not to put the weight of our happiness only on obtaining these luxury goods. Make it a habit to instead look towards your values, socialization, self-fulfilling goals, and experiences as another way to get that euphoric feeling. Basically, do what makes you happy. The things without that expensive price tag attached to it. Number 4, make it a habit to be around happy people. A 2008 study from the researchers and professors James H. Fowler and Nicholas A. Christakis found that if you simply live within a mile of another happy person, your happiness could increase by 25%. The researchers wanted to discover if happiness can spread from each individual and whether niches of happiness form within social networks. According to the study, people who are surrounded by many happy people and those who are central in the network are more likely to become happy in the future. Longitudinal statistical models suggest that clusters of happiness result from the spread of happiness and not just a tendency for people to associate with similar individuals. A friend who lives within a mile, which is about 1.6 kilometers, and who becomes happy, increases the probability that a person is happy by 25%. Although these effects weren't seen in coworkers, the authors also mentioned that similar results were seen with happy spouses and neighbors who are within the mile.
Okay, so 2 more ways to be happiness, things that make us happy. Let's go back to the article, and then we're going to finish off with the video. All right, so share screen, and we go to Joshua. Let's highlight, okay, just the first 2 lines here, and then we'll move pages.
Ask for what works. The experts we surveyed had a handful of happiness habits in common. Spending time with.
Okay, let's move down. Spending time with family.
Family outside of the house and with friends in a non-professional setting were big ones. The majority did both at least once a week, and many gathered socially 3 to 4 times a week. John Zelensky, a psychology professor at Carleton University, describes social relationships as the chief building blocks of happiness. We all stand to benefit from close friendships, romantic partners, and a general sense of respect and belonging to a community, he says.
Yeah, so these are the things we like to do. Spending time with family outside of the house. We saw that in the chart. Being with friends in a non-professional setting. So not at work, but just being outside of the work environment. People do that at least once a week, and many 3 to 4 times a week, spending time with others. So there's John Zelensky, who's a psychology professor. He says, social relationships are the chief building blocks of happiness. You're happy when you spend time with friends, aren't you? Or maybe your family outside of your house, if you could visit your cousins. That makes most people happy. So that's important. Spending time with other people outside of your household. Social relationships, chief building blocks of happiness. We benefit from close friendships and a sense of belonging in a community. That's what we all like. We all want to feel like we belong. Okay, thanks, Joshua. Next paragraph for Tiger, please.
Pursuing hobbies such as art, music, cooking, or reading was also universally important. Most respondents carved out space for this interest 5 to 6 times a week. Mental well-being has long been linked to sufficient sleep, and our respondents prioritized getting at least 7 hours a night. Exercising or playing sports was another shared habit, with respondents saying they fit it in 3 to 6 times weekly.
Okay, so hobbies. You have hobbies. You told me that Tiger, you liked basketball, and Joshua, you liked reading, and Justin, you like basketball and reading, being with friends. These are hobbies, things you can do in your spare time. That clearly increases your happiness. So it's important to do all that many times a week. Sufficient sleep. Your parents probably tell you got to get enough sleep. And you say, oh, really? But it is important. It links to your happiness. The more sleep you get, the better you're off you are, the healthier you are, and the happier you will be. Okay. Thank you. Now we go to Justin.
An additional key to unlocking happiness might be basking in nature. More than half of the experts reported doing so at least 3 times a week. Emiliana Simon Thomas, science director of the Greater Good Science Center at the University of California, Berkeley, knows that when she's stressed, she takes a walk and marvels at flowers, plants, birds, insects. She also counts breathing exercises, reading poetry, and watching stand-up comedy among her go-to copying strategies on bad days. Other experts overcome unhelpful thoughts, anxieties, and stressors by revisiting favorite books, listening to upbeat songs, or journaling. Some describe asking a friend for a hug or letting it go out with a good cry.
Okay, so more suggestions to unlock happiness. One of them is basking in nature. Aha, basking, one of the vocabulary words. What does basking mean?
To do a lot.
Yeah, to do it and to make the most of it. When you bask in nature, you're enjoying it. You make the most of it. You do it a lot and make the most of it. Yes. Okay. And experts, what they do, try to do it at least 3 times a week. People who really enjoy it, go down to nature, smell the trees and the leaves and seeing the birds, all those, basking in nature, marveling at the flowers, enjoying those flowers, the plants, the birds, insects. All these things are basking in nature. But also breathing exercise, reading poetry. If you like comedy, watch comedy. All these things are this Emilia Simon Thomas, her go-to coping strategy. So if she wants to cope with a difficult situation, she's feeling sad, she wants to be happy, watch a comedy, read poetry. These things work for her. Remember the first one in the video? Favorite books, reading the books, listening to songs, journalizing, even asking a friend for a hug. All these things help with your happiness. Okay, we got one more paragraph. We're low on time. We're going a little quickly because it's a short class, but I want you to get the most out of it. So Josh, how about you read the last paragraph and then we'll watch the video. Go ahead, Josh.
Barbara Fredrickson, a psychology professor at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, frequently revisits her personal definition of happiness, choosing to cultivate moments of meaning and enjoyment. When things look bleak, I remind myself that whatever I'm facing has been faced by others as well, she says. Being happy is, after all, a universal and ancient pursuit. Take comfort in the knowledge that even people who are steeped in happiness science find it to be an elusive concept at times, and that they don't allow that to deter them from pushing closer towards it.
Okay, good. So this professor said that she revisits her definition of happiness. She thinks about how she defines happiness, choosing to cultivate moments of meaning and enjoyment. Cultivate. One of the vocabulary words, Josh, you remember what that means?
Try to develop a skill.
Yeah, develop the skill in enjoying it. Figuring out what she can do to make herself happy and make meaning and enjoyment of life. And what she does, if things don't look good, if they look bleak, she says, whatever I'm facing has been faced by others. So think about that. When you're feeling sad about something, you have to realize, well, other people have felt sad about it. I'm going to overcome it and I'm going to feel good. And tomorrow or next week will be better. Because being happy is a universal and ancient pursuit. Men from thousands of years ago wanted to be happy. We've always tried to be happy. We try to find ways to be happy. It can be an elusive concept, meaning it's hard to find, but just because sometimes it's hard to find happiness, let it deter you from pushing closer to it. Sometimes it's hard to find that happiness, but you keep trying. Okay, so we're going to go a few minutes after 9 because Michael said we can go a few minutes after 9. So I want to just allow time to finish off here. What I'm going to show you is the last part of the video. Remember, we were talking about the daily habits of happiness experts. And after that, what I like to do for each class, I like to ask each person if they can tell me one thing you liked or one thing you learned. So think about that. Think about one thing you liked or one thing you learned. And after the video, I'm going to ask each of you if you can just tell me. I'm just looking for one thing. I hope there's many things you liked and many things you learned. I'm just asking you to come up with one. Okay, so first, let's watch the end of the video. These 6 habits that will make your life happier. Remember, number 1 was read stories of wonder. Number 2, I didn't show you that, but I mentioned it's mainly for adults. Drink healthy amounts of coffee. Number 3 was don't focus on materialistic goods. Means it's not just things that cost money that make you happy. A lot of things that can make you happy aren't materialistic. They aren't objects you buy. So don't just focus on those kind of things. 4 was make it a habit to be around happy people. 2 more to go. So let's take those out. Okay, let's continue.
Time to thank your friendly neighbor for lending you that cup of flour, and thank them for a bit of happiness. Number 5, join clubs and participate in cultural activities. Thinking of joining a club or snagging those tickets to your favorite concert? One research study found that those participating in more cultural activities and clubs reported decreased levels of anxiety, depression, and an increase in one's general satisfaction with life. The 2011 study examined data on cultural activities, perceived health, and overall satisfaction with life on over 50,000 adult participants from Norway. According to their research, the results support hypotheses on the effect of cultural activities in health promotion and healthcare. Time to join the art club. Number 6, keep a journal of your feelings. It has long been believed that journaling can have a positive effect on one's mental health. Writing down your feelings each day is a great habit to adopt. According to University of Wisconsin-Madison, health psychologist Shilag Mirgain, PhD, Therapeutic journaling has proven effective in the treatment of those experiencing post-traumatic stress and trauma survivors. The benefits also extend to those living with chronic health conditions such as asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, chronic pain, and even those who are chronically poor sleepers. She also explains that there is a growing body of evidence that demonstrates the beneficial effects of writing. Just 20 minutes at a time over 4 consecutive days was associated with a decrease in health problems, such as enhancing the immune system functioning. So it might be a good idea to write a bit in your journal before bed, and then divulge into that awesome book you've been reading.
Okay, so there you go, the 6 habits. Let me tell them one more time. Read stories of wonder. For adults only, drink healthy amounts of coffee. 3, don't focus on materialistic goods. 4, make it a habit to be around happy people. 5, join clubs. And 6, keep a journal of your feelings. Some of these may work for you, some maybe not. Pick which ones are good for you. Okay, so Josh, you have your hand up, so maybe you'll go first. Maybe you have a question, or you want to tell me one thing you liked or one thing you learned?
I have a question. Could you repeat the 6 habits? I want to take them down.
Okay, sure. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, the 6 habits. Read stories of wonder. So reading is very important. The second one is more for adults, drinking a healthy amount of coffee, not too much. It's not so much for kids, but it is in the video. So don't focus on that one. Number 3, don't focus on materialistic goods. So, materialistic means things that you have to buy. So don't focus on materialistic goods. You can be happy without having objects, right? Number 4, make it a habit to be around happy people. Okay, you probably feel better when you're around happy people, don't you? So make it a habit to be around happy people. If you have a friend who's miserable and always says, oh, this is bad, maybe you don't want to be a friend with him. Okay, number 5, join clubs. Because if you join a club, maybe it's a reading club and you like to read, so you're around people that like what you like. And 6, some people like to do this, not everybody, but keep a journal of your feelings. Some people like to do that and they find it helps them. Okay, well, thanks for asking that question, Josh. Yeah, I'm glad if you take those down and maybe you'll find those helpful. Okay, so did you want to go first, Josh, since you asked such a good question? Can you tell me one thing you liked or one thing you learned from this class? If you want to think about it, I can come back to you. Let me ask Tiger while you think about it. Okay, Tiger, one thing you liked or one thing you learned?
Oh, well, I like to join a club because maybe like in your daily life, maybe you are very tired. And then if you join a club and those people have the same hobby as you and you can show off your skills and talk with them, maybe will let you feel better.
Okay, good. So what you got out of this class is one of the suggestions was joining a club. You think that's a good idea because you're surrounded by people that have similar likes to you. And when you surround yourself by people that have a similar like to you, it helps your happiness. Okay, thank you for that one, Tiger. Justin, one thing you liked or one thing you learned from this class?
I learned about like different vocabularies about happiness and
okay, different vocabularies. Okay, I want you to be able to learn different things, and vocabulary words is one of the objectives. I gave you 5 vocabularies, and each of you remembered the definition. So that makes me feel good. I showed you the definitions at the beginning, and you all remembered, or you had them written down, or you had a picture of them. However you best remember, that's good. So you learn different vocabulary words. Okay. So Tiger and Justin, you've given me some good suggestions, good ideas about what you liked. Josh, you asked me a good question to repeat. Do you have anything to add to that in terms of, Josh, one thing you liked or one thing you learned?
I learned like pretty much everything you taught me. Like all this stuff is like pretty much new to me. And I never knew that, like, I always ask myself and my mom, why do you drink so much coffee every day? And she just tells me, oh, it's for my energy. But then today I learned the true secret of coffee.
Yeah.
So, I think that's pretty interesting.
Okay, good. Oh, thank you for saying that, Josh. That's true because remember I mentioned that one is more for adults. It says drink a healthy amount of coffee. Yeah, I'm like that. In the morning I take my cup of coffee and that, gives me a little bit of a pickup. So I feel good. I can start my day with coffee. Not so much for kids, but when you get older, you might see that. And yeah, you mentioned your mom likes that. Okay, good. So just to close off, I want to just emphasize to you that this is an example of the type of articles that we have in class. This was more of a fun article. Some are more educational. I'm just going to give you an example of some of the articles that I've done recently with my other classes. We talked about a sleep storyteller. It was about somebody who found good ways to fall asleep. They couldn't fall asleep, so they went out in nature and found good ways to fall asleep. What exercise burns calories? So about different exercises that will help you. Clockwise, how we keep track of time and how the pandemic has changed our idea of what time is. Is time going more quickly or more slowly since the pandemic? A solar revolution. We talked about how some countries are using solar panels and it's a way to save energy. Benefits of houseplants. Some people like their houseplants. Machine learning, we talked about machines. World is filled with overtalkers. People that like to talk. They're always around you and they're talk, can't get them to stop. How do you handle people like that? Well, we did an article about that and discussed it. So that's just a small example of some of the articles that we do. So I hope you will think about joining the class. As Michael mentioned, we're going to have classes in the summer, Monday and Wednesday. And doing similar articles like this. The homework will be on your Google Drive. You'll have a place for you and you do the homework and you write it up and then I mark it and the next class we review it. So based on that, do you have any questions about the class? Is that all pretty clear? Yeah, no questions? Okay. Well, you all did a really good job of reading and asking good questions and giving me good feedback. That's what I really like because it makes the class enjoyable for all of us when you give me good feedback. It was a little bit of a shorter class, so we didn't have as much time for interaction today, but in the regular class, we'll have some more time for interaction. Okay, so have a good day, and I hope to see you for the summer classes. Take care. See you in July.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.